This is a quick video that I've been wanting to make explaining a few things about why my videos to some of you might seem quite bad in terms of editing, and perhaps you might think that I speak a little bit like a robot, and I have bits cut out left, right and centre. And I wanted to just take a minute to explain the reasons why. So just to put it all into context for you, I've had health anxiety now for 10 years, and I've had social anxiety since I was 7 years old. However, I used to be a lot more confident. I actually overcame it for some time, and I was in a band and I used to sing and everything. And I had quite a big social circle. But since probably the emergence of my health anxiety 10 years ago, I've suffered from quite a few problems. Even though I feel that I've recovered from health anxiety, there are residual issues that have come about due to, I can only presume, the amount of time that I've had stress issues. And panic attacks and, all that kind of stuff, really. So I wanted to just explain a few things. Basically, I cut my videos up, and I know that I cut them badly, and part of that is due to the fact that I don't have the right equipment. And but the larger reason for that is the fact that there's a lot of things I have to cut out because they make me feel extremely insecure and embarrassed about the fact that I find communication difficult. I can only presume this is due to the fact that I've had such persistent panic attacks for such a long time, and an inability to relax at any given point. Even when I'm relaxed, I'm still extremely tense and anxious. And the main thing that has come out of that is the fact that I've actually I think my body has forgotten how to breathe naturally. And I think my go-to with breathing is to hyperventilate. I am trying to change that by learning to diaphragm breathe and doing voice exercises to try and strengthen my voice, but they don't seem to be working. So a lot of the time when I cut bits out, sometimes it's because very much like at the moment, I don't know if it shows very much at the moment, but it'll probably get worse in a minute. My voice has got a constant wobble in it, and despite the fact that I might be quite confident inside, that doesn't seem to translate when I open my mouth, and it makes me sound very much like I'm on the verge of having a panic attack, or I might actually start crying. That's not how I feel on the inside. I think it's a direct result of the fact that I don't know how to breathe. Another one of the problems I have is the fact that when I'm not on camera, I talk at the same speed that I think, and I'm a very, very quick thinker. So my normal talking speed would actually be probably twice the speed I'm speaking at now. In my family, we joke and tend to refer to it as power talking. And that's never intentional. It's just the way that I speak, and I think it's because it's fueled by panic. So what happens is I talk too fast and I run out of oxygen, and I don't know when to breathe or how to breathe properly. So I run out of air and my voice starts to wobble, and sometimes I just have to stop mid-sentence because I've lost the cue for when I'm supposed to breathe. Which is very infuriating. So a lot of the time, I know that I sound a little bit like a robot and I'm speaking strange, but that's because I'm physically trying to slow down my speech so that it's more, it's easier to understand. I also have I have breathing issues in the sense that when I breathe in sometimes, I make a strange noise when I breathe in, and I find it quite embarrassing. So if I notice that in a video clip, I try to cut it out where possible. And also, because I don't know when to breathe, I know that I sniff a lot on my videos, and that's not because I've got a cold. I might try to pretend it's because I've got a cold, but I haven't. I've actually got a deviated septum, which means I find it difficult breathing through my nose. So I'm always struggling to know where to get my air from. Whilst I'm here, if anybody can give me any advice, if you are anything like a speech therapist, or you teach elocution, or, singing lessons or anything, if there is anything that you could tell me that might help me understand what I'm doing wrong, that is causing me to have such a wobble in my voice, because it's very difficult to talk without. Oh, see, it's making me swallow because I can't get enough air in my lungs. It's nothing to do with nervousness as well. If that's an assumption that anybody's made, I'm not actually nervous at all. I'm sat in a room on my own, and there's no reason for me to be nervous, because I could just delete this video if it didn't come out right. The wobble that's in my voice and the loss of air when I'm talking, excuse me, I've got hair on my face, is actually always there, even when I'm talking to friends. Even if I'm talking to my dad on the sofa, I still do it. And there's an immense sense of pressure when I'm trying to talk. It's almost like my brain has lost its ability to communicate properly with my mouth. And another thing that's come from the last 10 years of anxiety is the fact that I've lost the ability to show my expressions through my face. So I'm actually having to relearn how to move my lips. And I know these things sound really irrational, but they're really quite relevant to anxiety disorders, I think. It's just everything is so difficult for me. And, I wish there was some way that I could make my confidence on the inside translate when I open my mouth, but it doesn't happen. I know as well, some people have told me that the fact that I should be turning the video camera sideways so that when people view the videos, they're viewing it in landscape instead of portrait on a landscape screen. See, I'm tripping over my words again. But the reason I don't do that is because where I'm trying so hard to correct the problems I have with communication, it requires me to actually see a monitor with my face on it to make sure that I'm actually making an effort to put in the movements. And it's a good reminder for myself when to breathe. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's almost like I've gone to manual and nothing's automatic anymore. And I find that very distressing. Part of the reason that I'm doing these videos, the main reason is the fact that I've overcome house anxiety. So now I'm dealing with mostly other issues like correcting the way that I speak. But one of the other issues is the fact that I'm finding exposure therapy through recording myself is the fastest way that I can find to actually correct these problems. So if I was to take away the monitor that I could view myself on, it's much harder to try and correct things I'm doing wrong. Hopefully that will change within time, but it's very difficult without seeing my face because I tend to do these strange things, and it makes me look quite unusual. And I know as well, I'd like to just put out there, I am aware of how I come across. I know I come across as awkward and perhaps robotic at times, and that's something that I'm actively trying to change. I'm aware of the fact that I've got one lazy eye, so one eye's always slightly closed, and I know my face doesn't move much when I speak, and I know that my accent probably doesn't help me. That's another thing that I'm trying to change. I'm trying to change the way that I actually pronounce words. in the hope that that might help me speak better and get rid of the wobble in my voice. So apologies if anybody feels that my videos suck, and I know they do, but I'm a beginner, you know, and for me the information is the main thing. I care so much about people that are suffering from the same things as me that hiding this part of myself would seem counterproductive to me. You know, what I'm dealing with now and all of the things I'm trying to correct are a result of the stress that I've gone through with health anxiety. So if you're struggling with these things too, it'd be nice to know if anybody else out there has actually got issues with their ability to communicate and speak, because their anxiety has just got in the way of their ability to communicate. I know probably people with social anxiety suffer from this a lot, but it doesn't feel like social anxiety to me. It's almost like a brain-mouth communication issue. I don't seem to be able to translate the things in my head into words, and even when I try to, I find it difficult getting my mouth around words. And just breathing, like if I could just learn to breathe correctly, that would be so good, but I've tried so many different ways to do it and it's just impossible. So yeah, this is just an apology to anybody who finds that my videos are badly edited, or feels that the way that I speak is difficult for them. You know, I know the sniffing must get on your nerves, but I don't know how to breathe, and my nose is constantly, you know, not letting enough air in. So there's not a lot I can do about it. I don't think there is anyway. And yeah, all those bits that I've chopped out, you know, they're just me being awkward, and I don't want to feel embarrassed by myself for the fact that, you know, I'll be saying something at some point and then halfway through a sentence I'll run out of oxygen and my voice will waver and I'll trip over my words, and I'll just look incompetent, you know, because I don't really want to be the focus of these videos. You know, the focus of these videos hopefully is to help people understand health anxiety and reassure people that you can overcome it. I feel that I've overcome it myself, although I do still experience it on a frequent basis. But like I say in another video, I've actually sort of reclaimed a large part of my life. But these residual effects and symptoms, like wobbling voice and not breathing properly, you know, there's something that I have to take into account, and I don't want to be ashamed of, because I'm not the only one that's had this problem. I'm also, you know, I'm almost having to relearn how to speak again. And I think the fastest way to do that is through putting myself out there with all my flaws, in the hope that some form of accepting myself through not having to cover these things up or try and correct them before I put a video out could actually be the thing that helps me overcome this anxiety problem that is affecting my communication. So thank you for anybody that has taken the time to watch these videos. Unfortunately, I haven't had any cruel comments yet, but I anticipate at some point they will come in. But I think I'm strong enough to take them, so hopefully I'm prepared for that. So anyway, that was all I wanted to say. Please try and be compassionate. The fact that I don't think I'm great at videos on YouTube. I'm not built for it, but I'm trying regardless. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it, and I'll speak to you again tomorrow, probably with an edited video. Okay, bye bye.